Hey kids, it's Uncle Drew. Recently I've been getting a lot of emails from viewers talking about how slasher films are a big fat waste of time and they're the bottom of the barrel when it comes to horror movies. I got one guy here who actually says slasher films are nothing but some dude putting on a mask and killing a bunch of people for no reason. Excuse me while I go out of frame and I throw my fucking notes everywhere. I love slasher films. I think you guys know this. Most of what I review is slasher films. I cannot get enough of them. Now, originally, I was going to respond to all of these negative emails by saying things like, suck my dick, lick my ass, whatever. You know, the typical shit. But it's typical, you know? I mean, you're going to expect it. It's predictable. So instead, I feel like I should, I don't know, present a passionate yet brilliant argument on why slasher films are so amazing. I like to throw in the brilliant thing when it comes to me talking. So, here's what we're going to do. I want to run you through some basic slasher films, films you're going to know, and I'm going to talk about why they're so impressive. Okay? Let's start with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. All right? Now, 1974 was a rough fucking time in America. There was a lot of things going wrong. You know, we were in the middle of the civil rights movement, or you know, in the worst chapter of the civil rights movement, in my opinion, when everybody started turning kind of corporate. We had just withdrawn from Vietnam, and the innocence of America was over. The Vietnam was televised every fucking night, in color, in every home. You know, we had Watergate, we had Patty Hearst, you know, Robin Banks, and Stockholm Syndrome and all that shit. So we needed a different villain. You know, some dude lurking in the shadows with a knife was just not going to do it anymore. America had huge problems, and the villain needed to be a huge problem. Hence, Leatherface. You know, Tobe Hooper created a great character with him. He's bigger, stronger, badder than anybody that had ever been on film before. And of course he had the chainsaw, you know? A fucking terrifying weapon. And at the end of the film, you know, true to life, he wasn't gone. He wasn't fake dead or real dead or anything. He was standing in the middle of the road throwing a tantrum. You know, swinging his chainsaw above his head, just being a total dick. And that's what America was looking at down the road. You know, these problems, the Watergate and all this shit, it wasn't going away. It wasn't going away anytime soon. So, in a sense, Leatherface mirrored, you know, American politics at that time, American society at that time. It was a big fucking issue, bigger than, not bigger than we'd ever faced, but bigger than we'd ever really talked about or dealt with on a large scale. And it wasn't going anywhere. So, that's fucking awesome. Michael Myers, you know, brought horror home. The Halloween franchise, well, the first Halloween at least, so the franchise kind of petered out, but the first Halloween brought horror home. You know, there wasn't slashers running loose in the suburbs before Michael Myers, and there certainly wasn't the main character's brother running loose. You know, Michael Myers taught us that evil is next door, it's in our house, and whether we can see its face or not, evil does have a familiar face, you know, and that's awesome. I know I'm saying you know too many times. It's what I do when I fucking geek out on horror films. So where are we going to next? Let's try Friday the 13th. That should be the next in order chronologically if I'm remembering correctly. Now, Friday the 13th, now I know you see Jason, he's this big carnage engine, right? Just runs about tearing up everything in his way. You can't escape him, you can't drive away from him, you can't run away from him, you sure as fuck can try to swim away from him, but eventually he'll get you. Jason is the personification of that little voice in your head that says there's going to be consequences to your actions. You take that little nagging doubt that you're going to get caught doing something bad, multiply it by 1 billion, and that's Jason Voorhees. He's our fucking psyche, you know, he's the worst case scenario. The kids go out, they get laid, they smoke pot, they drink, and then they get mass fucking murdered. Awesome, right? And of course there's Freddy Krueger. When you have, you know, you have your isolated redneck communities full of Leatherface type characters, you have your camps full of Cropsies and Jasons, and now the suburbs are being overrun by Michael Myers. Well, where's the last safe place? Where's the last safe place you can hide? In your dreams. Except you can't anymore because here comes Freddy fucking Krueger, the boogeyman, you know? And he, in himself, the Freddy Krueger character is very interesting, but what he really brings to the slasher genre is this sense that you're not safe anywhere you go. And for those of you who know what it's like to be so fatigued you don't even notice that you fall asleep until you wake up the next morning, you can kind of understand the terror that Freddy Krueger built. We can go on to Chucky, I guess, you know, the whole Child's Play thing. I'm not a fan of Child's Play, not at all. Although I gotta say, Bride of Chucky, Jennifer Tilly in the bathtub watching Bride of Frankenstein, great eye candy. Other than that, the franchise is kind of laughable. You know, Chucky killing people with bike pumps and fucking yardsticks and shit. Not too fun. So that's my take. You know, that's just how I feel about slasher films. I think that you got to look past the dude in the mask killing other people, and you got to look into what that character represents, what that character really brings to the screen, you know, or brings to the story. So there's that, you know, the philosophy of a slasher. Pretty awesome, I think. And there's a few slasher movies I wanted to mention, but I don't want to run over on time. The Ugly is an awesome one. It's what happens when evil turns inward. You got to go see that. Cullibus was a great, kind of a slasher film, kind of a psychological trauma-causing torture film. And it's really hard to find, but it's a great film to watch. The very first horror film that I've ever seen that involved reality TV, way back in the 90s. Most of you were born then, so fuck you and your youth. You know, The Burning was awesome with fucking Cropsey running loose. The urban myth turned into a horror film. So I'm running out of points to make. I've got nothing else to do. And I guess we'll call it right here, because it's fucking 1,000 degrees in Uncle Drew's woodshed. I'm sweating like a goddamn preacher, and I'm out of cigarettes. So come back and see me again. You know, I always appreciate it when you watch my videos, and good night.